out, that get me fat, which is insane to think that everybody just thinks that if you eat badly you get fat, but there's a lot of other things that you can do. First of all, before we do that, tell me a little bit about who you are and why, what's your story like? What gives you the right to be able to give us advice of how to get healthy and how to feel better?
All right, you're putting me on the spot, but
That's what I do.
yeah. Listen, I was a struggling baseball player in high school, and I ended up playing in college. And in college at the University of South Florida, I realized that I wasn't going to make it to the pros, so I had to find another way to get there because my dream was to be a player on the Yankees. And when I got down to the university, I was an athletic training major initially. I ended up changing majors to exercise science, sports medicine, and I chose the University of South Florida for one logical reason. It's in Tampa.
The weather was warm?
The weather was warm, but also it was in Tampa. And
There were
my
nice
dream,
looking girls?
yeah, that's all a part of it. But the Yankees were there, and it was a very simple thought process.
Really?
My mom goes, "That's the reason? That's why?" But I always had this big vision of becoming a part of a professional sports team. Grew up a big fan as a kid, and me and my dad used to sit all the way in the upper deck. I always dreamed what it would be like to be on the field. So I go to the University of South Florida, get down there. Yankees are in town.
Tino Martinez,
Derek Jeter, Andy Pettit, Roger
Tino,
Clemens.
Tino went to school there. Was he kind of popping around there once in a while?
No, he was at the University of Tampa.
Oh,
at
different
the time.
school.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All
Just
right.
around the corner. And, here it is February. I'm interning with the football team at the University of South Florida, with hopes of being the next grade strength and conditioning coach. And Yankees are in town. I go up a week before, while camp is starting, pitchers and catchers are there. Here I come, got my flip phone, my old Sprint flip phone, and I'm videotaping these guys through the fence. And I'm sending all the videos back to New York. My friends are freezing.
Through the fence?
Through the fence, through that little square like that, right? I got my flip phone, dad sending it home, mom sending it home, buddies, they're freezing upstate New York at all the SUNY schools. And all of a sudden, a week later, I go back to school, working as the strength coach, as an intern, and the guy, Ron McKeefer is his name, says, "Dana, would you want to go intern with the Yankees? They need somebody to help out, cleaning the weight room, watching over, stocking the water."
You said, nah.
Oh, no, I was fired up. That was the whole reason I went to school down there. So I said, "You know what, Ron, I'll do that." So he says, "It's probably going to be about 2 days a week in the morning." I'm a student at the school,
Did they
too.
pay?
I got paid in, remember the supplements, Metrex?
Yeah.
So as a starving college student, I got free packets of Metrex and all the other stuff I could pull out of the clubhouse
Okay.
to support my cause. But
Who's the first player you met when you went there to show up? Did you meet a player first? Or
yeah, so I actually I meet this guy Pat. I get to the office. I say, "Hey, I'm Dana Cavalea. I'm interning today." And he goes, "Oh, Dana, this is a guy by the name of Patrick Scanlon. You may remember him.
Yes.
He used to work at the desk down there." And he says, "Dana, throw this over your head. It's a lanyard with my name on it." He goes, "Come with me." And I go see Rob Kukuza, who's now one of my best friends. And he goes, looks at me up and down. "Hey, you're a large. Put this T-shirt on. Put on these shorts." And all of a sudden, boom, they're pulling me right through the dugout, up the steps, and onto the field in the middle of stretch. And I meet a guy by the name of Jeff Mangold, who gave me my start down there. And here I am in the middle of big league stretch. I know no players.
Who'd you stretch first?
Well, I was just sitting on the field in that.
You were looking at all
that
those
big
players.
circle.
Did you look to go help?
So there's all of a sudden there's Roger Clemens, there's Andy Pettit, all these guys. Now in 1996, when these guys were winning all those championships, I was in 9th grade.
Okay.
What
year was this?
This was 2002.
So you just shot right for Jeter, though. Admit it.
Well, you know what? It was pitchers and catchers, so G wasn't there yet.
So you went for Roger Clemens.
So he was a week later. So here, all of a sudden, there's Roger and all these guys, and I just can't believe that this is real. To this day, I still have this memory of these guys kind of finishing up stretch and jogging across the field, and they are like giraffes.
So the net is you followed your dream. You made up a pretty good story how to go to Tampa. You had me going on that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you made good on it, and
Yeah.
there you are. You're on the field, and the rest is history. You spent how many years with the Yankees?
I spent 12 in total, including an internship, and then I became the director of strength and conditioning and performance, with the team. So
Who's your biggest fan over there? Who out of all those players you work with? Give me like your top 2 biggest fans and why.
man, it's hard because in my position I work with every player.
But you have favorites.
I-
Don't make believe like you didn't have
have
favorites.
I have friends, not favorites. But Alex Rodriguez is a great friend of mine. Derek Mariano, Jorge.
You worked closely with all of
and-
them, but it was that one guy you made come to the park. You know, you did a beeline to make sure that he was good, stretched out.
Alex took a lot of my time, and all the guys.
I can't imagine how that
and,
could be.
And all the guys know that, but you know, through the clubhouse, Dana. But Mariano Rivera was a very close second. But the guy that actually,
why is it close second?
well, again, very demanding in a good way though, because very consistent player, and they have demands and needs that they want filled, and it was my job to fill. But my actual first friend with the New York Yankees was a guy by the name of Homer Bush.
Love Homer. My kid loved Homer Bush.
Yeah, and my second year interning, I had no place to really stay. So he said, Dana, you know, we kept in touch, and I ended up living with him in spring training. He put me up, gave me a place to stay, and that was my first friend in Major League Baseball.
That's cool.
And I thought it was cool, you know, I'm texting Homer, hey Dad, I'm texting Homer, leave me alone, you know. So it was one of those things. But
you're right in the middle of it. But let's go back to Mariano or A-Rod or those guys, like. Because you know, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna hit home runs, but I want to train like a pro. Like I would like to. Can somebody at my age or somebody at the age of 40 or 45 do the training so that we can look or at least feel like a Mariano or a Roger Clemens or Pettit or those guys? I mean, what was their workout regimen? What made them so special?
What made them so special was their consistency. So they found a routine that worked for them, one that wasn't over the top. And it wasn't too little, and they fell in love with their routine. And what makes these guys great is their habits and their consistency. Day in and day out, they execute.
So it wasn't anything over the top.
No, but when you looked at a 365-day calendar year, they didn't miss. The best players, they don't miss. The only time they miss is when they really read their body and they're either injured or they're shot from flying across the country and not sleeping. And then I actually tell them to take the day. But consistency, you know, you think about the general population, you know, whether you go around any office in America and you ask, hey, when was the last time you worked out? Some people are going to say, this morning I work out every day. That's your top, 5%. But that 95% struggles. And they struggle with what do I do and the consistency factor. But the problem is the what do I do, they're not in love with what they do. I mean, do you really want to go grind it out every single day? Your body doesn't want to do that, especially when it's something that you don't enjoy.
Turn it around for somebody who's watching.
Yeah.
Who I'm sure there's a few people that don't work out every day.
Yeah.
How do you? Because they got the excuse. I don't have the time. My kids. I got to be at work. How do you work around those excuses? What do you tell somebody who's on that fence who just cannot get off of it?
Excuses only come into play if you don't have a real clear vision and a why. That's it. If you know, hey, listen, I'm 50 years old and I want to continue to play basketball every Wednesday night and every Sunday morning, that's your why. That's stronger than I want to be healthy. So you have to find what that why is. I have another client, in his 60s, and I said, hey, Daniel, why do you want to be healthy? Or why do you want to train every day? Or why do you train every day? And he says, you know what? If I can get 10 more years out of my life, I'll get to see my grandkids go to college. That's why I do it. That's what keeps him motivated day in and day out.
So before we get to the details about how much water you drink and eating well or what you do when you work out, you need to get the mental part of this right.
Yeah,
am I reading you right? Or
totally. That's all the strategy. The strategy is the easy part. The hard part is getting you focused as to why you actually want to execute that strategy. And this is why people fail. When you work with a young athlete, a high school kid, and I work with them too, they know they want to play in college. These kids don't miss because that's their dream. I want to get a scholarship. I want to play at a D1 school, and that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm here Saturday, Thursday, you know what I mean? All day. That's what they think about.
Okay, step one, what's your why? Why do I want to do this? And it's got to be something that's got some meat to it, some balls to it. So there's real purpose. Okay, I'm committed. I want to play basketball every Wednesday and Sunday. Now what do I do?
Now you have to figure out.
What's the big mistake that people make?
They do something that they don't really want to do. They may read a headline, oh, yoga's good for you. But I hate yoga. Meditation's great for you. Well, if you don't enjoy yoga or meditation or cycling, it doesn't matter the benefits. It's kind of like eating kale, right? You go around an office.
I don't eat kale.
Yeah,
let's be clear about this. I don't know who invented kale.
Yeah.
I don't even know where kale is grown. I don't even want to know. But whoever did was a tremendous marketer. I want to know who decided to market kale. Kale is tasteless. It's stupid. I mean,
but why don't you like
kale?
Why don't you like it?
It just tastes like nothing.
Right. You just don't like it. And that's the same way, certain things with exercise. If I prescribe something to you, hey, listen, spinning is great for you. I don't like the way the seat feels on my undercarriage. You're not going to do it.
There's no question.
So now,
Thank you. There's the reason why I don't spin.
Yeah, you're already set up to fail. So that's part of you.
So you got to find something you really want to do?
Exactly. Find something you really want to do. It's kind of like picking a career. Find something you really want to do, and then we could put a strategy in place with the reps, the sets, the days of the week, the intensity, and we could manipulate the variables around an activity that you like to do.
Okay.
If you don't like to do this, even if your why is really strong, eventually you're going to teeter out.
So it could even be a brisk walk, a bicycle ride, or it could be on the treadmill, whatever it is. I always think like you got to make whatever it is you decide to do your favorite thing to do.
It's got to be your favorite
Get the music right, the TV, the right sneakers.
T-shirt.
I want all my right T-shirts.
Great T-shirts.
You know, I've got in my gym like 12.
Yeah,
or
Brandon has a whole stack of T-shirts. Great T-shirts from like 1987.
If you mess with my T-shirts, it's a real
over.
problem.
It's over. The day's already done.
My T-shirts, you know, because I have a lot of OCD issues, by the way, and I like my great T-shirts, and I also like my music.
Yep.
And I also have, as a backup, my favorite DVR. So my shows, if I want to go watch my shows, my punishment is,
My
you want to
Soul
watch the
Sunday.
shows, get down at Super Soul Sunday, you want to watch it, you got to go. For a lot of people, or
It is, because they get caught up first, and they don't follow those steps. So they're thinking about the strategy before they're even thinking about the mindset.
or the get quick fix.
Or the get quick fix. And the get quick fix doesn't work. You know, so think about in your life, right? If I say, hey, we're going to go eat at this restaurant, you love that restaurant, you're excited to go there. You're excited. We need to create in its own way. Like, my mother is in her mid-60s and is obsessed with jazzercise. Crazy, right? But this woman flies out of bed in the morning, 7 o'clock class.
What's
7:30.
that? What is that?
It's like a group exercise class of middle-aged women that they play fun music. It's like the girls' club. You know, they all hang out, they talk, they gossip, they have socials. But she associates this with fun.
Okay.
Now, again, most people hate exercise.
Do you need a trainer to get this going? Or do you recommend a trainer, or can I get this going on myself? My own. Some people don't have the money for a trainer.
Yeah, if you don't have the money for a trainer,
what do?
You could join. There's groups that you could join, whether it's a Facebook support group, something that can get you moving. But even start, I tell people, listen, start with a Groupon and join a group class. Something that, you know, is going to be very nominal in terms of your investment, but you're a part of something. There's something on your schedule. Hey, 6 p.m. I have this class. But you need something to kick you into gear. And sometimes, too, you don't have to hire a trainer indefinitely. You could say, listen, I'm going to hire one for 8 weeks to kind of jumpstart me. And then if I feel my accountability dropping, I bring them back. It doesn't have to be an everyday, every week thing.
How important is stretching? And because I know older people probably know stretching is important with all the yoga, Pilates, but do younger people underestimate how important stretching is? And is that going to cause them some problems later on? Because I see a lot of younger people when they come play basketball, they don't even stretch.
Yeah, well,
nothing.
And think about these young people today, and not to point them out, but
no,
this is the posture.
You can point
we'll
them out.
point them out. We'll point them out. Like, millennial posture is typically this. You know, they're texting, the forward head posture, forward rounded shoulders. When you stand up, that's still there. It doesn't disappear. If you're training to be like this, you're going to be like that.
I'm thinking I want to invent joint replacements for the fingers.
For the thumbs?
In 20 years,
Thumb joints?
you're going to need to replace. Thumbs are going to be a premium on your driver's license. You know, you want to donate a kidney, a heart, thumbs.
Yeah.
Thumbs are going to be a premium.
Oh yeah.
Probably
what would you
20,
charge?
30 years.
You sell dirt. What would you charge for a thumb?
Wow, you're going there.
How do you price that out?
Dirt. But it's a good point on the
Yeah.
posture thing. It is concerning, especially at the desk so much. A lot of people don't necessarily worry about their desk height.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's why the standing desk will put you in better alignment just naturally. But even if when you say posture, it's amazing when you look at a room, everyone will naturally sit up and they'll be aware.
Do you remember the first time we met?
Yeah. You know, Brandon came in
Killed
kind of
me.
like the grim,
You killed me.
The Grim Reaper, walking forward, hunched over. You know, and what were you in were you in your late 40s then, maybe?
I saw you probably about 6 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And you immediately said, "Listen, it's probably not a good idea that you work out right now."
You have
said, "I don't think it's a good idea we start working out. There's some other things we have to work out."
Yep.
And one of them, just so you know, you're leaning.
You're leaning forward, and when you lean forward, your center of mass is in front of you. Your gait is shorter, and you start walking like an old man, even though you're still a younger man, and that's not good.
Oh, it was devastating.
But we see
But it's
kids
true.
now. We
It's
see
true.
kids come into the facility. They're hunched over, especially baseball players. All these arm issues. Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's because they throw too much." Posture and positioning of that shoulder determines injury risk. So the first thing we do with even a professional player is we measure how much rotation they have in their shoulders. Now that's not flexibility, that's considered mobility. Mobility is the amount of motion you have in a joint.
So mobility gives you the motion you have in a joint. Flexibility gives you what?
The muscle. That makes sure your muscle has length to it. So they're two different things. Now if you don't have mobility and you just train flexibility, you're going to fail. And if you just train flexibility but you don't train mobility, you're also going to fail.
So the big question you want to ask people out there is, how flexible are you and how mobile
And
are
how
you?
mobile are you? Exactly.
Is that like one of the first things you look for when you work with someone?
Totally. What we do is we take them through an assessment evaluation. Again, it's the same thing that I would use if I was working with Derek Jeter, that I did use with Derek Jeter. And
How mobile was he?
Actually,
Seriously.
he was super mobile. The only part that was immobile was his ankles. So we would put him on an ankle mobility plan to help him with that. But your healthiest players had the most available range of motion in a joint and the best flexibility.
Was there any particular athletes you worked with that were incredibly mobile and flexible?
David Robertson could basically wrap his arm around his head, but he's hypermobile, which is not the best thing either,
Okay.
because your risk of that subluxation or popping out of the joint goes up.
Let's cover one more thing. We can't cover everything, but we're gonna have Dana back. I mean, I love this stuff, but
Yeah, we can go deep.
the food part of it. How important is the water, the food, and for people out there that are struggling, because we always talk about you can't outwork bad nutrition.
Yeah, you can't.
Can't outrun your fork.
Yep.
How important is
Water. Most of your body is made of water. Your digestive tract flows better with water. Everything functions better with water. Cellular health is better as a result of taking in more water. Now, how much water? We say a rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces per day. So that's a very simple tip. But much like, there's people that don't like water. So I have an alternative for them. It's called Hint. Hint water. There's watermelon flavor. There's blackberry. Now, the great part about this company, and I used to give it to the players, is that it's infused. They don't use anything else. It would be like taking water, putting it in a pitcher, and throwing fresh pineapple, and then taking that water and putting it in a bottle. There's no chemicals, there's no additives, there's nothing. So if you don't like water, this is a really good option for $1.50.
But I think you can train yourself to like water. I used to be, drinking soda all the time. I have this water at perfect temperature in my refrigerator, so it's ice cold. But you can get the water the way you want it, or bubbly. How's the bubbly water? Bad or good?
Good. But here's the thing with the bubbly water. If I were to fill that, if you were to take the bubbles out of bubbly water, that bottle would be in half. So
Really?
you have to hydrate a lot more. Let's say you go out to dinner.
No one's ever told me that.
You could literally slug 10 glasses of seltzer and not have to go to the bathroom. If you had 10 glasses of water, you would make it through. You would make it through dessert.
You're killing me.
Yeah. So it's a different way to look at it.
I'm done with the bubbly water.
But I want.
So it's out.
I want to say this last
Yes,
thing
sure.
about water, is that if you don't like it, you have to come up with an alternative. But the reason most people don't like water is because their tongue and their taste buds are conditioned for sugar. So if you eat sugar cookies, if you're eating sugar, water is not going to taste that great for you. Now, if you all of a sudden, like there's a lot of talk about detox and green juices and all that, that will actually change your taste buds, and water will become that much more palatable for you.
So you suggest detox, fight through the wanting for the diet soda, the juices, and fight your way to this, or some kind of alternative.
Even if you transition
Yeah.
out of it, like let's say people that love soda, sometimes just the suds and the tingle on their tongue is what they like. So a good transition to water may be like a flavored seltzer.
Wow. Cool.
And then you'll eventually get to the water.
That's why I weaned off the soda. I did the flavored seltzer.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, let's do some questions. If anybody out there has any questions for Dana, let's open it up for a few minutes and see what's on your mind. If you got something specific relating to you, and hopefully Dana can answer, because everybody's a little different.
Totally. And before they come in, I want to share this last
Yeah.
thing. You ever think of the word carbohydrate? There's two familiar words that make that. carbo,
Yeah.
and hydrate, right? So I've been talking a lot about this.
Carbohydrate.
Yeah. So if you're dehydrated, there's going to be a particular food group that you're going to crave more than another. Carbohydrate, right? See, a carbohydrate is made up of 6 parts of water. Carbon plus water gets you a carbohydrate. So if you're dehydrated, you're going to look for carbs. So people are like, I can't stop eating carbs.
And the way to do that is don't let yourself get dehydrated.
Exactly.
Because dehydration will push you to eating carbs and bad
Yeah,
food.
higher carbo.
But we always talk about when you have this discipline up here, your ability to discipline yourself, not eat the cookies, not eat the cake. This
Right.
stamina, this mental stamina that you need.
Yeah.
How do you fight that? Because I'm good all day, and then at night those cookies and
Yeah.
chips and all this crap I'm eating, like
It's the 80-20 and when, right? So 80% of the time you're eating well, 20% of the time, you have some free reign, but the 20%, if you're consuming it at night, all those sugars you're going to hold on to.
ugh.
So if let's say you want to cheat earlier in the day, typically after a workout is the best time. The nice thing about it though is after you work out, you're less prone to put garbage into your system. But don't complicate it. Simple. Don't forgive yourself if you make the mistake or you're eating something that you're not supposed to. Go for a walk afterwards. But just you're balancing your equation. That's all you're trying to do.
It's the back-to-back, if you have a bad day and, just move on.
Yeah.
But you always get, it's the back-to-back days. All of a sudden you're 3 days in a dark place.
Yep. And
And cheeseburgers and cheesecake.
you can go off the ledge quickly, but that bottle that you have in front of you is the game changer. If you take in higher intakes of sugar, just think about I have to flush this out.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
over,
That's a great point.
take in more water, and all of a sudden your palate won't crave the sugar as much.
We got Ben. Any questions? Anybody zeroing anything there?
Sure, this is from Lauren. What's the
Hi,
best
Lauren.
way to get started? If let's say you haven't been working out and you haven't necessarily been eating right, you haven't been eating terrible, what's the best next step?
Yeah, the best way to get started is to just determine the day that you're going to get started. Some people say, well, don't wait for tomorrow. Like, pick a
Or
day.
after this
and
vacation.
Yeah.
Or, I'm going to start on New Year's.
Yeah.
Another delusional thing. But
I say you can pick the day. Let's say, hey, next month. But I've heard people too, if they say, hey, I'm going to start on Monday, they eat like complete garbage between today and Monday. But you can take that time in between to prep yourself. Ask the questions. What do I like to do? What is the training
and
that
why
I
am I
prefer?
doing this?
And why am I doing it? So before you engage and just say, I got to eat better, I'm going to do it right now. Take the time. What's my why? Why do I really want this? And then determine what it is, the mode that you're going to use. But it's amazing, right? I said this the other day. When women have weddings coming up, all of a sudden, weight loss becomes that much easier. Men
They have a why.
Yeah.
They got to fit the dress.
Yep. Athletes have the season coming up. Those first 4 weeks before they have to report, meltdown. The divorced male or woman, all of a sudden they're back on the prowl. So it's not that we can't do
So
this.
you really have to play the game within the game. You got to create a game for yourself.
Create the game. And then get other people on your game. Build your team, right?
It's from Alex. How do you build a solid mental game?
A solid mental game. I like to first identify where your mental game is weak. What are the issues that you're dealing with? Why do you consider yourself weak, and what do you need to improve upon? So identification is the key first step.
Own it.
Own it.
Where you are.
Own it. Own where you are, and that's your starting point to a better game. And then educate yourself. Find people that are succeeding in what you want to succeed in, and bring on the help, bring on the coaches, bring on the teachers, and educate
Surround
yourself.
yourself. It's tough when you're around people eating chicken wings and beer. It's tough.
Totally. It's like,
You know?
what's the, as they say, like, you're the sum of the 5 people, the average
Yeah.
of the 5 people you hang around.
Yeah.
Well, if you hang around obese people, the chances of your level, obesity level being higher is high.
What's tough, like with my wife, is like she orders the dessert and then takes one bite of it,
Yeah.
and then she completely moves on. I
Yeah.
mean, who does this?
Some women are really disciplined.
It's unbelievable. Like, who takes one cookie, and then moves on?
Yeah, but think-
Which is really the goal. It's like,
Yeah.
you want a cookie, have one, but don't have 10. I gotta have 20.
Yeah, and she's not fighting the cookie. Should I order it? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
She's disciplined to her exercise every day,
Yeah.
like we know. I mean, she's on it. and then she has this little wiggle room where she can have, I'm feeling a cookie tonight.
My big rule, are the two killer foods for me, is French fries and pizza. And my rule is, those fries have to be unbelievable. I don't eat mediocre fries. My fries have to be unbelievable. Then I'm going for it. Same thing with the pizza. I don't eat just any pizza.
Yeah.
If it's unbelievable pizza, because I know that's a lot of
You're
calories.
from Brooklyn too, so
Yeah,
it's
got to be L&B. You know, we got L&B, maybe up here Sal's. I mean, it's got to be, you know, somebody who's put some love into that sauce. Because mediocre pizza, like, I'm just not doing that.
That's not your thing.
And the same thing with the bread. Like, if it's not phenomenal bread.
But you know, I want to tell you this.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I knew I was working out before I was coming here. I'm coming off of a fast, right? I'm sleeping. I didn't eat anything. So what I did, I had one piece of toast, avocado, and a soft egg on top. Ate that, but you're not supposed to eat carbs, right?
Yeah, one slice of bread.
That's what they say. And then I went and worked out. I burned it up. I don't even feel it right now. So it's that when.
Are you a big morning? Do you work? Here's not. Do you eat before you work out? Now you read all these diets about not eating before noon.
It's preference, really. There's some people, their body sugar goes so low after they sleep. If they try to work out, they'll pass out. It also depends on the intensity of that workout, but it really comes down to personal preference. Some days I don't eat anything. I work out and I feel super lean. Other days I feel like if I don't eat, I'm not going to be able to get through it. So you have to, this is so individualized, and this is the issue with all these articles and studies that are paid for typically by people that want the study to say what they want it to say. But this is not a one-size-fits-all model.
It never has been.
Yeah, it never has been, and it never will be. You know,
are you a big omega-3 guy and the vitamins and stuff? Or
I take a multi. I take the omega-3 fish oils. I also take a B complex. And at night, actually, to sleep, I'll take a melatonin and I'll take a valerian root with some aminos.
And how does that help you?
Good. It's like a natural sleep aid. So I don't take it every night because sometimes the next day you sleep so deep that it'll make you sluggish. So, but I found that to work really well, especially years of traveling, different time zones, this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, I'm not going to take Ambien to sleep. I don't believe in
now,
that.
when you're speaking out, you know, for companies and speaking corporately, and I know you do the Q&A at the end, are the people that just not willing to leave? I mean, is it just overwhelming, the questions?
The questions that I get, and I have to redirect them, is that they're asking for very singular things. How do I improve this?
Yeah.
But I want them to understand it's the whole. So if I teach you how to sleep better, right here, take valerian root and take melatonin. So we have to look at this thing as a whole, and it's being sold and mass marketed in individual pieces. That's the problem. So you can't help somebody improve their overall lifestyle if you're looking at things independently. It won't work because they're going to have that next question and the next question and the next question.
I got to tell you, man, we've had some unbelievable people that we've done this with. This is maybe one of the best conversations we've had. I mean, and listen, not bad for a Tuesday morning. Come on, we all need a little giddy up in the middle of the summer. Still got to put the bathing suit on. We still got weekends and vacations ahead. We got to look and feel good.
Yeah, and we're talking about something that's relevant to everybody. If you're a high-level CEO, if you're a student, if you're a pro athlete, if you're a young athlete, if you're a mother of three, a father that's getting ready to retire, this applies to everybody.
Is there one athlete you could share with us? Like you obviously work with so many of them that you can give us a little bit of their routine about. So just they can see the quirkiness in it. Yeah, you can see the consistency of why they perform such a high level.
So let's talk about Mariano.
Okay.
Because he's our guy, local guy, Westchester guy. We love him.
Love Mo. You gotta love Mo.
We love him.
And he's so consistent.
Yeah, he's consistent. And the thing about Mo is he would get massaged and tissue work every day from the 4th inning to the 7th, right? He'd lay on the table and we'd massage him, then we'd stretch him. So most people was like, but this guy's going to pitch in the 9th. Doesn't he have to fire up his engine? He was smart enough to realize that if he had poor tissue quality, knotted tissue, almost like a beef jerky like tissue, wasn't hydrated and loose, that he'd eventually get hurt. So he was able to maintain his health, not because of flexibility exclusively, massage, different sort of tissue work, and then the flexibility. And earlier in the day is when he would do his running and his weight training 3 days a week. Total body weight training 3 days a week, every night. Tissue work, flexibility.
Eating? eat anything, or was he kind of quirky?
I mean, look, we know him. He would cheat here and there, but for the most part, big seafood eater, lots of fruits and vegetables. Hated coffee. Couldn't understand why people drank it. He was a green tea guy. He'd sip on his tea. You know, I would go. I don't know if you remember the store Tea Havana, but whenever we're on the road, I'd have to go get fresh tea leaves.
Yeah.
So our routine started to blossom into Mo would come in the fifth. I'd have a hot cup of green tea with honey. If I forgot the honey, it was over. And if I wasn't there at the start of the fifth,
Oh yeah, don't mess up his order. I love it. We're on the phone with Mariano, and we're talking about all these licensing for his final year. We got all these companies that want to license his name, and we're trying to explain him how this whole thing works. He's at the Starbucks counter, and they start asking. He orders some the special tea thing that they were making.
yeah.
And they ask him his name, and then they ask him to spell it.
Mm.
Rivera. How do you spell that?
And that's Mo.
Rive. Oh, okay, yeah. But the consistency, you could just see also just every time he pitched. I've seen him give a couple of pitching lessons. Also, his structure and his form was really good, so he's disciplined that way. But the eating thing throws me off with him. Is I would see him eat a little crazy once in a while.
Yeah.
But most of the time, he ate pretty good.
Yeah, most of the time, these guys, especially him, it's very flatlined. Very rarely do you see behavior that's out of character. So they don't ever do anything extreme. They're not participating in extreme exercise, or I'm joining this boot camp and I'm going to kill myself. And then all of a sudden I'm so burnt out after 6 weeks, I don't work out for 6 years.
Jason Giambi, a consistent eater?
Consistent eater, a little more of a meat eater.
Big guy.
Big guy.
Working out a lot?
But a bigger weight trainer.
Okay.
Loved to lift. He was a big lifter, Jason. And that was his philosophy. But as a first baseman and a power position, he needed more of that. Where a guy like Mo was a much more of a finesse guy. And it's amazing too how their personalities, the position they play, their personality matches that. You know, Mariano needs to be quiet and calm. Jason's a clanging banger, sit on the corner. You know, he's that kind of guy. And everything about him is that guy.
Take a couple more questions, Ben? Or
the best mental reps
to get yourself right. Like, what's
so
best way to get into a routine?
Yeah, couple things, right? I find the first thing that alters your psyche is a lack of peace and a lack of rest. So I always tell people, listen, don't judge yourself when you're tired. Don't do it. You know, don't try not to make big decisions when you're fatigued, because even that little bit of irritability is going to affect your decision making, which ultimately will affect your performance. That's one. And number two is patterning. You have to catch how you talk to yourself, and also loops. If you think about it, there's sometimes a week, 2 weeks can go by, and all of a sudden you're in the same loop. It's moving at the same speed, and you need to get out of it. And
how?
We used to use ice baths and cold water. So if you find yourself fatiguing or in a very stale thought pattern, get in ice cold water, whether it's an ice cold shower or ice cold water, and it's amazing how it jumps your system and resets your patterning. But most people feel mentally expired and stale because they're it's kind of like the same speed. There's nothing fresh. Same pattern, same loop. You got to change that.
Change it up.
And your inputs as to how you're talking to yourself. I can't work out because I'm this, because I can't, I never have been able to, blah 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 blah. You believe that story.
I put the little guy inside in charge. I told everybody the guy's in charge of making sure I get to the gym. He runs the show.
Yeah.
And nobody can supersede that guy.
Yep.
So even when the other guys say, "Yeah, you're tired. You know you got to get to work," the big dog comes in and says, "No, I'm running the show, and Brandon's going down to the gym to work out." He supersedes all those other little voices.
And that little guy, I remember we were talking, and I told you about this lady I met in her 90 years old. This lady in
I'm glad you brought that up.
Down in Florida, and she told me, she goes, "Dana, you got to coach yourself. You got to push yourself."
Hold on, let me set this up the right way.
Right, go ahead.
So he's down. This is a very strange guy, but you go down to Florida. Now, most people go down to Florida, you know, the tan, hang on the beach, maybe meet some girls. or just enjoy yourself with your kids and family. He's going down and hanging out with 90-year-olds, which I think is very strange and random, but we'll talk about that another
It is
time.
a little weird.
So you're talking to this 90-something-year-old woman,
Yeah.
and she gives you these keys.
She gave me these keys.
I want to know what the keys and and she was a nice-looking woman who looked like she had her stuff together.
Yeah,
right?
here she is, 90 years old. She puts her lipstick on. She
Vibrant, look
puts her
hot.
makeup.
She looked kind of hot for a 90-year-old.
I don't know, Brandon. I'm not going to go.
All right.
You can go.
I'm say hot.
But you're
know,
closer
that
to 90 than I am, so you can go.
She looked vibrant. I wasn't thinking you were going to sleep with her. I'm just saying, like, she looked kind of together.
Yeah, she
All right.
definitely put herself together, and she,
Okay.
she spent some time living out in California. She worked for, I want to say it was Redkin, that company, and they spent a lot of time with their employees about personal development.
But what's the key here? What did she say the key to living well in your 90s and being vibrant and effective?
Yeah, the key is, and this is the key that I may have said a different key at one point, but what I really, when I pull it back and I think about it, she said, you have to coach yourself every day. That's what she said. The lesson that I got was, it's not going to get easier, because she told me, I said, so it doesn't get easier when you get 90? She goes, no, it gets harder. So you need to start coaching yourself yourself. And she said, I was inside reading, I was lazy, I didn't want to come out to the pool and do my exercise. I said, Anita, she slammed the table, get out there. And that's what she did.
And what was anything else? Was any other relevant tips there? There'd be a couple others.
There's a couple others, but I know I told you one. But
I love the one tip that when you mentioned this about how she got together with all the other women and they had what happens here stays here.
Yeah, they have a support group.
Support group.
Yeah, and
Love that.
she's a facilitator.
So I think you have to get that stuff off your chest too. You talk about mentally, about how do you get yourself right.
Yep.
I think you got to get all that negative and all the stuff that's bothering you stuff off your chest. If you could do that with a group, or you could do that while you're working out with somebody or by yourself,
Yeah.
get that out of your system. I think that's key.
So-
It's got to go somewhere.
Exactly, or else it actually. It's all the stuff they hold in, kind of expanding. It's got to go somewhere, right?
Right.
Some people say, oh, they're an emotional eater. They can
Right.
be a thinker, and the thoughts are actually pushing the bulge out.
And then the third thing she says, find the positive in everyone.
Find the positive in everyone. And
Yeah,
you're-
everybody has one. A little. Sometimes you got to really get down to the nitty gritty.
Yep.
You may have to get all the way down to the small little toe in someone.
Yep.
But everyone has something that you can visualize positive aspect to.
Yeah, and that's where she decided to focus. Focus on the positive that people bring, and all of a sudden, when we talk about mindset mentality, now all of a sudden your waves and your patterns are positive rather than negative. And the last thing she said, and you're bringing this out of me, is that your attitude is everything. How you approach something. You know, oh my God, I got to go see with Brandon, I got to go do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. Hey, isn't it great? We're doing a great podcast, we're doing a Facebook Live, we're motivating all these people. That should be the thought process.
Do you get true joy out of helping people? Is that what drives you at this
Yeah,
point? Do what you do, because you could train it probably anybody you want.
Yeah.
I know I know that a lot of people want to train with you. You don't have time, and you can only do so many. But where's the joy for you?
The joy for me is helping people cut through the crap, because there's so much garbage being put at people that they don't do anything. So if I could clean the message up for you, make it simple, and teach you how to get started, I feel a lot of fulfillment knowing that I had I was a part of your journey.
I love it.
And that's what really excites me and motivates me. And I use the players and I use my Yankee experience to create the framework for you to succeed long term. This is a long term play. I want to see you at 90, 95, rocking.
So if you want to get your tips, you got to go on your blog, basically.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, you're sending out those tips every time, and then I know you're working on a book and some other stuff.
Yep.
So that's how people. How do people get all of you?
So you can go to danacavalea.com.
We're gonna have it right posted below
Yeah.
for you there.
And every day I write a blog. Train like a pro. I give you
Yeah.
the tips, the strategies, everything
I
from
love
mindset, training, fueling, and recovery. So you can start your day. It comes at 6 a.m. every day. Don't delete it. And, jump on the newsletter.
My guru.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done without him over the last 7 or 8 years. It's been amazing. Thank you for joining.
Cool. Thanks,
Appreciate
Brandon.
you, man.
Yes,
Thank you.
You got it.
Hey,
Likewise.
if you got some questions, we'll try to answer them in the post. We've been really going a little long, and you probably need to get back to work or at least do something that's productive today. Hopefully you get started from some of these little tips that Dana gave you, and we'll see you soon. Actually, later this week, we're going to be doing a huge giveaway. We're going to be giving away all kinds of products and prizes and meet and greets. So keep an eye out for the Facebook Live. We'll see you soon.